Here we go! It's time to do this once again! It's time to dim the lights and let the feedback build! 3 clicks and sticks! And we're ready to explode! We sing along!
This content is for informational and educational purposes only. You should not construe any such information or other material as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Nothing contained here constitutes a solicitation, recommendation, endorsement, or offer to buy or sell any securities or other financial instruments whatsoever by Draper Gorin Blockchain, aka DGB, the presenter, or other associated parties for the content being provided. Please do your own due diligence and seek proper counsel.
Boom! What's up?
My voice is slowly coming back.
All right. All right. Wait, before we jump into everything, I'm going to do the homework that I'm supposed to do normally. Welcome to the DGB Ventures DGB Family Hang number 65. 65, if we're counting correctly. I think we are. If you are watching the stream live or not, go to dgb.vc and sign up to the newsletter. Reach out to us if you're an early stage startup in the space, or you're an investor wanting access to invest in some of these companies. This is our weekly hang where we regularly get off topic and have fun together. We don't have a specific topic today, which is why I put planning in the title. But the joke is that we were we were talking about some really dumb stuff before we went live, and I told the guys to wait for it. Even Kevin, before you came on, Zuda and Rankin were talking about poop or something, and then I put on my headphones. I'm like, guys, save the important topics for when we're live. But really, going back to the DGB topic, we invest in early stage blockchain startups, and we like to be the first, and AI. Basically, we're under the premise. Actually, do I have the slide here? This is what I always tell people. No one starts an internet company anymore, right? Because every single company is connected to the internet today, whether you're a hot dog stand or a retail store, right? But in the same way that nobody starts an internet company anymore, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, whenever that switch is flipped, nobody's going to say, I start a blockchain company anymore or an AI company anymore. They're just going to start companies, and AI and blockchain are going to be connected in some way. And so we invest in those early stage innovative companies. So reach out to us. I've been super crazy pumped lately. I don't know, Rankin, working on the new website. We have a new DGB website coming probably this week. And we've input every single one of our existing companies, not just from DGB, but from the funds I managed before DGB, DGH, and some personal investments. And it's so rad going through all the companies and then seeing the world map with where all the companies are. Around the world, it's really fucking cool. I'm super stoked, and I'm getting really excited for launching it. So really cool and exciting updates coming soon. I usually talk too much. Last week we talked about Zuda's company a lot. Let's start this week by Kevin, you giving us an update on what's new. Well, you and I did a little bit of a podcast. Okay, hey, yeah, Rankin.
Did Kevin or Zuda, did you guys try Portraits at all? Did anybody try Portraits?
I looked at it. I tried it out. Yeah.
Sweet. What'd you think?
Did you get some good looking pictures?
Did you get a good picture?
I mean, I didn't turn it on. I looked at it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay. Honest. Yeah,
I will like
great pictures, excellent pictures, but he was honest. I like that. That's why we love Zuda.
It can even make a pig look pretty.
Hey, are you implying that Kermit the Frog wasn't a good-looking dude? Because
I said the
not
pig.
only is Kermit the Frog
No,
pretty awesome,
that Miss
but
Piggy.
he probably wrote. Oh, pig. I was thinking frog
I-
when you're using the
I
voice.
think-
My brain
Yeah,
auto-corrected. But come
beautiful.
on,
I think his
Right.
Russian
and probably the
imposter
greatest
looks better.
songwriter of any puppet in the history
Songs
of
about
all
rainbows,
time, right?
absolutely.
It's like one of the
I think
best
his
songs
Russian
ever.
imposter looked better than Kermit himself.
How dare you? Kevin, what's new? Oh, Coop is joining. Hold on. Let's add Coop to the stage. All right. I wasn't fast enough.
Now we're going crazy.
Now we are going crazy. I like it. Coop. Okay. I'm gonna remove you till I see your face somewhere. You're probably getting set up. When I
probably
see your
getting a
face
shirt.
on the thing.
He's getting a shirt.
Putting a shirt on. That never stopped him before. Come on. So what's new, Kevin?
So, so a number of things. So we're going to the next phase of everything with stable tech. And this is something that will, for one thing, we're going to be writing what we've been trying to do for some time, for years, since the beginning, which is to have a nice virtuous cycle between these three areas, stable and the exchange.
Uh-oh, I think Kevin's cutting out. Oh, so I did Kevin's podcast yesterday, or a podcast that I'm doing with Kevin, and his stuff was cutting out during the podcast.
Yeah, I was
Hear
gonna say
me?
he doesn't
Yeah.
usually pause.
Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
No.
Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
I
Okay.
can hear you a little, but
You
you
now.
paused for a
I hear you
second.
now.
I'm gonna
Okay.
let,
Well, it
let
was
the
no, it
internet
wasn't you.
recover.
It's not
Hold
you.
on.
It's not you. It was mine, and I fixed
I
it.
know.
It was all you.
So-
It was all you. Absolutely.
It's always
100% you.
like when you know like the thing that when there's a bad connection and you know that it's you, like it even tells you, and then you fix the thing, but then the other person is like, "It's me. I got to do a thing," and I'm like, "No, don't!" And then it's another 5 minutes because they got to restart the computer. Anyway, so layer twos. So we have Etherlink is out on Tezos now. So we have mainnet. It's beta, but it's mainnet. We're on mainnet now. So you can check out those apps that are on Etherlink, and that is the layer 2, the EVM compatible layer 2 that resolves to Tezos. And then so all your conversations about, oh, what are we going to do about MEV costs? Aren't the MEV costs like completely, insurmountable and all the kind of thing? Gone. And it's a better L1. It's more decentralized. So if you have an app that you built for EVM and it's like, well, I don't want to rebuild everything for Tesla, you can do it anything. Anyway, next thing coming up is going to be Teslink. So that's the next roll up. And that's going to be the Tezos native, the Mickelson, that is now is going to benefit from the sub-second block times and all the scalability of the layer 2 that we have with Etherlink. And then also Justice will be coming later. And that in theory
That's going to be cool.
Bigger than anything ever, not just bigger than anything we ever did in Tezos, but like bigger than anything that's ever happened in blockchain. When you think of like how many devs are on any of these core protocols, you can see a few hundred for Tezos, a few thousand for Ethereum EVM. You can argue maybe tens of thousands, probably not that much for Bitcoin, but it's the largest. But when you're talking about JavaScript,
okay,
23 million developers worldwide.
Justice,
23
just to
million
be
developers
clear,
worldwide.
and
yes.
Justice is
Justice.
JavaScript. Okay,
TZ.
so it's a JavaScript like client, or how would you explain? It's like a JavaScript client over Tezos. Like you'll be able to. It's JavaScript tooling for Tezos, so you can build any JavaScript app.
It's its own smart rollup, so it'll operate.
Oh, it'll be its own rollup, its own
blockchain.
chain.
Yeah.
Oh.
Its own identity. Beta is the point of contact on that. She's the kind of the Lady Justice.
Can we rebrand it then?
East Denver.
Can we rebrand it to like Java Chain or something?
I love the name Justice because it's the.
I know, but nobody hears the word justice and thinks JavaScript. Nobody hears the term justice. I like justice too. It sounds rad, and I like that it's justice, right? Like, cool.
And this is coming from the guy who made stable tech Tezos.finance, TezX, USD Tez. I am a big fan of making sure that the brand, if that's what matters at that point, if that's what you're trying to attract and say this is what it's about, make sure that name is in there. Otherwise, it's unnecessary friction at the benefit of just being slightly more creative. But the Tez is in there, so I mean it's spelled justice actually.
Yeah.
So it's got that, but the JS I think is something that resonates with the JavaScript community. Like they see the JS, they know what this is about. But it's early, and this is the time when like I think a lot of the brand with anything, even Etherlink and all, like the brand assets are like that's the time when you should be changing stuff. And I see too many people to create startups, and they're like 3 months in. Nobody knows who they are and what they've done or whatever. And they realize they should definitely change the brand name, but they're like, oh,
And they should come talk to us.
I have all these business
And they
cards.
should come talk to us if they're only 3 months in. They should definitely come talk.
That's right.
And then you'll
and
guide
let
them
me
on the right path and say,
pause.
hey, guess what? You don't need to be glued into something that just happened just because you thought it was 3 months ago. It's the perfect time to change it. It's when you could have 100 million users and change it, but you have like what, 4? Yeah, they'll understand. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
It's an emotional thing. It's an emotional thing to people, and it's hard
Yeah.
for them to change. And almost always in every situation where you should change, when you finally make the change, you wish you did it sooner. I want to pause for 1 second because
I
Coop
like
joined.
it.
Yeah, well, because Coop joined, and there's a couple things. One, right before Coop joined, Zuda had Marley on, his dog, and then Coop came on with Bob Marley in the background. I feel like that's some kind of universal connection happening. And then 2, 1, okay, Coop is near DC, and we got to hear all the events and things he's been going to and give us some updates. But before that, Coop, I only just put together, I'm such a dumbass. I was seeing in my spam folder on Twitter where it connects with you, that sad Cheerio thing. Oh, I can't hear you. You're muted. You're muted.
Oh, he doesn't have a microphone, maybe. Is that right?
No, can't hear you. No, he's on mute.
How about now?
Okay, now you're off.
Try
Go
refreshing.
to your
It's
settings.
Talk.
Coop, and make sure that your settings are choosing the right microphone.
Okay, so while Coop is fixing that, Coop, I think Coop launched a meme coin called Sad Cheerio from a tweet that I did, and I thought it was some random person in my DMs. I didn't even open the DM because I got a DM from Sad Cheerio, and I'm like, who's this person trying to make money off my tweets? If I knew it was Coop, it would have been so rad. He made like a meme coin called Sad Cheerio or something, and I just realized now this second, I'm like, Sad Cheerio retweeted this, and then I was like, holy shit, I think that's Coop. I never even looked at the Twitter feed because I just thought it was some random scammer or something. So Coop, you gotta like call me or something when you do that, because that was really funny. It was a really just funny picture I posted. Okay, Coop is refreshing. No, he's refreshing. And then I want to hear, because Coop has been at a lot of the DC events and stuff. So I want to hear from him all of the stuff. Ooh, Emilio is on too.
Oh, I also want to announce, FYI, if you're at the GDC, the Game Developer Conference in San Francisco,
yeah.
I will be
this
there.
This convo is all over
Wednesday,
the place.
Thursday. Yeah, there's stuff all over the place. So I'm going to be probably stopping by the Avalanche event as well in San Francisco. So hopefully I'll see somebody there.
Yes. Okay. So Kevin, why don't you keep going on Tezo's stuff?
DC.
Well,
we got the so we're gonna get a point of like so the next like thing we're making is going to be, well, it'll be perps, power perpetuals on TezX, and really high frequency trading. I mean, that's the key to it all. You want to use those sub-second block times to get to that. That's how you bring in that centralized exchange volume over to the decentralized world. Not just that, but that is, I mean, without that, it's a very difficult endeavor. So that's really exciting. And I think, we have a lot, some people are, I think too many people are bummed right now, not realizing just how much potential energy has been charged for the Web3 world for this year. And what I think, even if you look at the markets, it's like, oh, it's down from the all-time high it was at. It's like, okay, but it's still in that all-time high area. And by the way, you need this to get to the new unprecedented heights. So I think that's what's that tends to be overly missed by people, because people get caught up in the moment. Personalities are just like widely just they are top of the moon one day, and then the next day everything is shit and they blame everybody. So
I don't know.
it's
Conspiracy
keep
theory.
your head
I
up.
think
You know what I mean?
I think
It's
they all
good.
probably
They're all
just
good.
figured out they had to do taxes from their crypto transactions. Now nobody wants to do it anymore.
They were happy to do it once until it's like, oh, so I lose this in the taxes, and
right.
I lose
They're
this
like,
in
wait,
the
wait.
price of-
I made all this money and now I have to pay taxes, and wait, my crypto's down 50 to 80%. You know, and then you just like, rage quit, forget it.
That's the way that is. By the way, in the the whole, you're not an internet, like there are no internet companies anymore, Alon. The like that's something like I've been saying that for like quite some time. Like there used in the 80s it was like, oh, I work in computers. In the 90s you were like maybe they expect like, oh, I work in IT, to be more holistic. 2000s people started to say I work in internet, and then I remember like 2010s it's like I make apps. So like whatever they did, it was just like I make an app for it. It's like, well, everyone kind of does in a way, unless you're doing some. But like now it's just more. It's so ubiquitous that like you don't use that term anywhere. But speaking of, and it's interesting you put the LinkedIn logo in that little card. If you like, I was actually checking LinkedIn yesterday, and back when I made my profile, they have you choose whatever industry you're on. Internet was one of the few options you had on LinkedIn. Internet was a if you weren't typing, he'd find this more interesting. But like now, like if you go to change it, they remove that as an option altogether. Like they have far more detailed options, but they don't even have that. So I have this legacy. If you go to my LinkedIn, you'll see this like, oh, industry, internet. If I change that, I could never get it back because it's so outdated at this point.
Well,
there is no internet
LinkedIn,
industry on LinkedIn anymore.
I think
Hold on.
2007.
Say something.
2007 is when I started the LinkedIn account.
Can y'all hear me?
I hear you.
Seth's mic is
Okay, good.
Here's the thing. I think this is all going to be like RWAs, right? Everything that we have as stocks and other assets will all be tokenized assets. But right now, I'm an RWA. I'm a tokenized asset. I think in the future, every asset is tokenized. And I think that's what we're going to see as a kind of a flip. We talk about
RWAs because you just.
That's why we need to lean into real fake assets.
Yeah,
Kevin,
let's lean in.
Justice, you should have the J and the S capitalized for JavaScript.
I'll tell Beta. Should have Beta on the show. She's amazing.
Yeah,
hey, yo, we should have Maddie Boomspan on the show. We should call Maddie and invite him on the show right now.
We should.
That way you get a shout out for JavaScript and you keep the name.
Let's text Maddie if he's see if he's on.
Oh, so look, I was in DC, y'all. I made it to the after party, the crypto summit. I made it in the after party.
Tell us about the vibes in DC.
I didn't go to the crypto summit, but all my friends were actually at the summit. But the after party was at Brock Pierce's mansion. So I went over there. We all hung out. I got a chance to talk to Brock. I met the CEO of Death Row Records. You know what I'm saying? Snoop Dogg and all of that shit. I met a lot of people. I met a lot of founders. I met a lot of congressmen and senators, and it was a lot of people that you would want to know in the room. But I knew so many people already because I'm a member of the Government Blockchain Association. So we've been over Brock's house. I've been over there at least 6 times partying. So I knew so many people already. So it was a really good environment. A lot of networking got done. I was able to talk to the founder of Seek VR, if y'all ever heard of that virtual reality metaverse company, but I was able to talk to their CEO. A lot of different people. I met a lot of people, y'all. It was a really good event. Really good event.
That's awesome. And people were generally pretty pumped.
Yeah, definitely. Brock Pierce was real pumped up, man. I didn't know he was a founder of Tether, though. So that was pretty cool to learn. So,
yeah,
the founder of Tether, is he?
Co-founder of Tether, yeah.
He's what was the company or the exchange that created Tether back in the day?
I believe.
No, was it Bitfinex maybe?
Oh no,
I don't remember.
Bitfinex, yeah.
So a lot of those
guys,
they were involved in the creation of that stuff because he was involved in the creation of like digital assets before the words existed, right? Like,
Right.
so they were all involved in a lot of those things early days.
I own Tesfinex, I believe.
Tesfinex.
There were a lot of people trying to like capitalize off that brand. I remember there was an EOS Finex, which
sure.
Brock Pierce was heavily behind EOS.
Whatever happened to EOS? I remember that shit.
EOS logo necklace, and he'd like wear that on stage. John Oliver had a whole episode about it and about Brock Pierce.
Nah, that's hilarious, man.
Well, it was a time when everything was such a novelty, even today, right? Think about this. We've all been involved. I know since at least around 2018 or so, we've been in touch with each other or with the years follow, but I was involved maybe a year or two before. Brock, actually, here's the thing. I met Brock. I just had a Google, one of those Google memory things pop up. So in 2016, Tim Draper was supposed to speak at the Crowd Invest Summit that I was organizing at the LA Convention Center, and Tim got sick. And Tim is one of those people that doesn't normally like flake out. He makes it happen. And like the morning of, he's like, I was gonna make it happen. It's like too crazy. So he made a text introduction to his sister and to Brock. He's like, both of them are based in LA and would be excellent to be up on stage and take my place. I'm so sorry. And basically Brock was the first to respond. And he's like, when is it? LA Convention Center. I'm hopping in an Uber right now, kind of thing, or in a cab or getting a ride. I don't know if 2016 we were Ubering yet. Yeah, I think we were. And so he's like, he hopped in. And there was like a couple funny things that happened, right? If you know Brock is not a tall dude. Tim Draper is a tall dude. Brock is blonde and like, looks like Brock. And Tim is dark haired and has, eyebrows and the whole thing, right? He's Tim Draper and Brock is Brock. And they look very like distinct people. And there were people who came in late to the thing. And so when we got on stage, we mentioned, so sorry, Tim Draper got sick, but we're so excited. We have Brock here, and we started to introduce Brock. And then we got into the conversation. Brock was talking about Bitcoin really early, right? Nick, nobody yet was talking about Bitcoin. He was talking about digital assets, all sorts of really interesting topics. And people really loved to talk. But people who didn't know who Tim was were looking at the agenda and just saw Tim Draper, first opening segment of the event. And I sat and did a fireside chat with him. And all these people sent messages to me, thanking me and saying, please pass this on to Tim Draper. His talk was excellent. And then people found Tim's email address online and started sending Tim Draper emails saying, I just watched you at Crowd Invest Summit. You were so inspiring, this and that. So he was forwarding it to Brock and I, and we were laughing because we're like, the two dudes can't look, like very different. Like they couldn't look more different, right? Like, they're just two completely different dudes. And it was just so funny, and we were having a funny time. And that's like the day I met Brock. And now think about that. We're almost 10 years later now. And in between that time and now, it's almost 10 years, but people still look at Bitcoin and crypto as this magical internet money novelty, whatever thing. And think about in 2018, when Bitcoin first was going kind of nuts in the public eye, people were just like, Brock was the poster boy in terms of, he was on the Bitcoin Foundation or whatever, or maybe even the chairman of the Bitcoin Foundation. So people were using him. Wasn't he like in Rolling Stone magazine or something? Like it was a thing. Like it was crazy. And then, of course, when a company like EOS raises billions of dollars, it becomes a headline also. Just craziness.
It's interesting. A lot of the Brock Pierce, Eric Voorhees, like a lot of these guys, like most, I'd say, of the early blockchain pioneers, they came, either they were building gaming companies, like they've done that, or they were just like, if they didn't do it professionally, they were like really avid gamers. So and there was something about
digital assets more than a gamer.
Yeah. And also they understood generational shifts. So I think it was Eric Voorhees who was talking about it, where they were like seeing that middle schoolers were like trading the in-game currencies for like clothes, like stuff that they would physically trade with each other. And when you recognize that at a time of like the late noughties or whatever, and Bitcoin's just starting, it's like, and you see the arguments against it, you realize like, no, there's something here. And this is one of those things where the older generation definitely won't understand it. But if you understand this next generation, this is a shift that you can capitalize on. And then so they really took the bull by the horns, and they were thinking like 10 years ahead of everybody else.
Well, I think it was like RuneScape and other games like that were trading gold for Bitcoin and stuff like that back in the day.
Second Life. Let me talk for a quick second. So that game,
go Coop.
Second Life, and damn, if I wish I could have played it back in the day. They were using Bitcoin. I know, but they don't use Bitcoin no more in it, I don't think.
Yeah.
But anyway, Second Life, and then the other thing I wanted to bring up. Matter of fact, we should invite Crypto Stash to this call as well. But I was just looking at Gunzilla games. Oh no, you kind of did look like him just now and shit.
No, I could never pull off a stash like Stash can. I mean, he's a real OG. I do it as a novelty. He lives the Stash life. Okay, go. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
Nah, so anyway, I just wanted to bring up Second Life and look at Rockstar, right? Rockstar is getting ready to come out with the #1 fucking video game in the world again. When it comes out, it's going to be like $120. I'm thinking, I don't know, but yo, they're probably going to have cryptocurrency in the game. They're probably going to have what they already have, which is the Grand Theft Auto Shark Bucks or whatever that shit is. But we need to talk about this, y'all. Roblox, you always talk about Roblox currency.
Yeah, Robux. Dude, it's crazy. I mean, Rankin, are you gonna go to the hangouts, the Roblox developer hangouts at GDC?
I don't know. My son's the one who's the developer in Roblox.
I know. We really
cool,
should.
You know, my son is, I mean, without knowing it, he's learning about KPIs, and he's tracking. Hey, I've had 60 people going to this game. I've had 100 donation of Robux in this game. And he's like telling me his stats for each one of his games that he's producing. And it's kind of cool to see that, He's telling me videos he's watching about how he's learning about, Blender. And he's a kid's like 9 years old.
I was on. Okay, go.
Can we create a dashboard for all the kids that keeps tally of all of that across Roblox and Grand Theft Auto and Call of Duty and all? Can we create a dashboard that captures the currency and maybe do some type of like tracking? Think about it.
It might be able to be built on top of what Turf.
You gotta be careful when you're tracking kids, though.
Yeah. Well,
all you would need to do is build the APIs. You just need the APIs to plug into the video games and make sure there's interoperability between the different chains or whatever operating systems. Video game platforms.
We're going this direction, and it's inevitable at some point that we're going to see the whole Web3 in gaming come in, into play with games. Kids want digital assets. They want their stuff in their games. And the next progress to that is once you have all this stuff, what do you do with it? And what value does it have? And can you resell it? And at some point you ask that question. And I think we all have, like, okay, I put 48 hours in, I have this sword. I'm done using this sword now. Can I sell it? Can I do anything with the skin? Like, or maybe I don't want to put the 40 hours in. Remember, now I'm going to buy it.
Hey, let me take it a step further, right? So what if I was a real big celebrity like Snoop Dogg and I had said gun and said video game and I'm done using it, right? But I tagged the gun, like, I put Snoop Dogg on the side of it. It's an NFT, so I can inscribe it or something, right? Boom. It's out there in the world. Everybody's going to know this was Snoop's old gun. You know what I mean?
That'd be kind of cool.
That's like in Seinfeld, the John Voight car. It's not that Snoop. It's a different Snoop.
But what if everyone knows? You can see that this is Snoop's logo. This is the official Snoop. Everyone knows, and I'm out there busting niggas' ass like that.
It was like buying the Batmobile that was in the movie, like, right? It's the authentic thing, and if you can verify that on chain, that it was really Snoop's.
Imagine having a Batmobile in Grand Theft Auto. You're the only one with that shit.
Yeah, there's
just cool
stuff like that. Yeah, no, I think there's something to that, right? So, you bought an NFT and let's say you bought an NFT that was owned by a celebrity or by somebody, right? I've actually gone and looked at that. Like, there's an NFT that I own. I'm like, hey, I know the artist who held this NFT previously. I'm like, that's kind of cool.
It's on-chain data, right? So maybe we can find a way to commercialize that.
I can verify his
Right.
wallet that this guy owned it previously. I'm like, that's kind of cool.
I'm gonna give all y'all an NFT. Y'all gonna be like, y'all got a Coupe de Ville NFT and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've got a few of those.
That's
Hell
right up
yeah.
Snoop's alley.
It's I mean, I think the whole all of it is crazy exciting, and it goes back to what we were saying right up the beginning, that everything is coming on chain, everything is becoming verifiable, right? Like it's proof. And you go back to the kids, right? And in-game assets. When you bring up in a group of kids, like, wouldn't it be cool if you could take your in-game assets and trade them for other game assets, right? Like an old game you used to play for a game that you play now. Kids like jump with excitement.
Yeah.
Like they
Like
get
trading Pokemon cards.
Exactly. But every game is in its silo, and it's native to them that a digital asset should be able to go. When we were younger, we didn't think like, oh, it would be really cool if I could take my ear that I got off of Rankin and Diablo and trade it with Coop for 20 actual dollars. Like, nobody would do that, right?
So the problem is, this creates a problem for the government, because right now kids are trading Pokemon cards, and there's no issue with it. Problem is, once you start doing it on chain, now they're going to want to tax every transaction. And so how do you tax a kid that's under 18, right? And because technically a barter is a taxable event, do they?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, none of them
Right.
tax
They-
baseball card trade.
Right?
Microtransaction. Do it as a microtransaction, Dave.
Well, I know, but so the government needs to get to a point where, like, they're going, okay, no, we're not going to tax you for trading your Pokemon cards unless it's over a certain dollar value, right? Like, there's some issues here with this whole system and how our system's set up because of how we have this overly complex tax system. And
Let's get rid of taxes.
I'm down with it. If you're making less than 150,000, don't. And most kids aren't. So let's say nothing.
The issue is that the more bureaucracy is
well, now it's a collectible. It's a collectible too. They want to
I
charge
have 1 point. I have 1 point, fellas. Check this out. I have a handful of vintage Garbage Pail Kids cards. Okay.
Oh, I love those. Yes, I love Garbage Pail Kids.
Vintage. Now look, I figured out how to get the back sides right. Remember how the back sides? We never did this. We never nerded out, but it's always puzzles on the back.
Yeah.
So check this out. I've been investing in these quietly for the last 10 years. I have bunches of these. I'm going through a bunch of them like right now.
They're the OG ones?
OG ones. Quiet investor, right? But check this out. Why can't we? They already have NFTs, bros, on the Wax blockchain. I just got access to all my Wax wallets from like 10 years ago. I lost access. They gave me access.
Oh crap! I don't know what I got. I got like 1 million Ken Bozak NFTs.
Yo, I just talked to Ken the other day. What's up with Ken, yo?
He's organized. By the way, he's organizing the Shitcoin conference at the next Bitcoin conference. It's going to be in Vegas. He's organizing that. I'll have him on to tell everyone about that.
Yo, get him on the show because I know he was working with Asvoria, and he just told me he stepped down from Asvoria as the head guy or something.
Okay.
I used to have a huge stack of Garbage Pail Kids. My grandmother threw them out because she thought they were gross and disgusting. I was so pissed. And I was so happy when they re-released new cards that I bought a whole bunch of them because of it.
Yeah.
Hey, look, you want to hear a funny ass story? So I bought a bunch of them off eBay back in the day, and when I got them, they were all still in the original paper. So I opened them up and tried to eat the gum and shit. That shit was nasty as a bitch.
Did it dissolve in your mouth? I did that with old baseball cards.
It
The
was
gum
nasty,
dissolved.
that shit. It was nasty.
It was hard as a rock. It was hard as a rock, and then it like dissolved in your mouth, and you're like,
But see, that's probably that would have made the shit worth more money if I would have never opened it up and left the candy in the shit. But whatever.
It's
So,
also
Coop, you don't know it, but I made some cards that are kind of lookalikes to in the style of Garbage Pail Kids on a platform that is now no longer called Art Tech. And I have a whole bunch of cards that look like various people. I'll have to share you a link, but they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool.
Hey, look, me and you need to do a puppet series real soon. Real. I'm gonna talk to you on the back channel.
You're just gonna encourage Rankin to use a fake voice.
I need you to be Kermit the Frog on my album, Dave. Please, let's make it happen. I'm putting it public. Let's make it happen.
He needs Kermit
the Frog puppet.
Kermit the Frog.
Kermit the Frog.
Don't encourage this. He's gonna go into character and he won't stop.
What are you talking about?
I was joking earlier, Coop, because we remember one of the times we used Adobe Character Animator. Were you using Animator, Rankin? I made you the puppet, right?
I don't know. I don't remember.
Did I ever make you a puppet for Dr. Enkin?
No, I do not think so. No,
oh crap! We got to figure that out. So remember when I could? I still can. I just need to set it up. Use my ape, and it was like 2D, and it was like a cartoon, and he could talk, and I could. It would follow my head and stuff. So, one of the times that we did a blockchain and booze, or one of these live streams, Rankin was his ape, and he stayed in character the whole time. Like he literally was speaking with like an English accent for like an hour straight, and it was driving me nuts.
Yeah, I'll work on that one again.
It was great. What is that, Coop? That stack of papers?
Oh, I'm just rolling a blunt.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought you were pulling like notes out. Well, wait, do you have a new album you're working on?
Hey, yo, let me tell y'all something.
Blunt is about to
spend a lot of money. I just spent $1,000 for 2 of my friends to rap on my album, but they're like famous and shit. I don't want to tell y'all yet.
Okay.
But the first guy is from DC. He's a good friend of mine, real famous local cat. And then the other cat is really well known.
So Punk Ape Strong is the opposite. He'll pay you to be on your album.
So here's the thing. I have a punk rock song that I want to do, but I need your help, bro. I'll fly out wherever you are. I'll fly out there and bring my guitar.
What software do you use?
I got my guitar right behind me right now.
Let's do it. Dude, okay, we're totally doing it. What software do you use?
Audacity. I'm old school.
Why are you using Audacity, man? I mean, it's great if you know what you're doing.
It's open source. It's open source software. It's open source software, and I've mastered it. I mean,
yeah, but I have like 6 stars that are way better, and I know there's some open source ones in that.
I got Fruity Loops. I don't use that shit.
You know what?
Fruity Loops is an open source.
No, I know. I downloaded it illegally on BitTorrent.
Want an open source star that's better than Audacity? I can get you one.
But
you know what I've been using, y'all? I've been using Koala Sampler. I'll show you to you. I got it on my thing right here. I got it right here on my other tablet. Let me show y'all. Hold on.
All right. So while you're saying that, okay, Coop has a new album coming out. I'm gonna tease a Punk Ape Strong album that is being worked on right now. Don't have a release date, but I will say, speaking of what the hell was the original metaverse thing that we were just talking about? Second Life. Speaking of Second Life, our friend Joe Bear, who is a Second Life OG, he meets people from Second Life to this day to play music with them in real life. I'm sending him audio files. He's playing guitar on them and stuff, and he's helping me produce a Punk Ape Strong album. Oh, that's cool. Show us what that is. Hit some of those loops. Let's hear what happens. Hit some buttons.
What's that?
It's not up, but yeah, just check it out. It's called Koala Sampler. I mean, I don't feel like fucking with it right now. I'm trying to load this beat up. But yeah, that shit is cool though. Yeah.
Who's trying to share their screen?
Me.
Okay. It just says demo though.
Oh, by the way, I get my weed from a black-owned dispensary, right? And it's right up the street. And this girl's the first black female to own a dispensary on the East Coast. I know her. She's a friend of mine.
Thank you.
So if you're on the East Coast,
that was the last time I'm doing that map, but I'm gonna do it one more.
What is this audio coming through?
My bad. I got some shit going on.
Okay, so if you're on the East Coast and you are in need of a dispensary, go support Coop's friend. All right, you got something? Oh, yeah. Okay, you're adding.
These are the style that I was creating. Look at this.
Come on down, Bob Barker. Your price is right.
These were fun. These were fun. This is totally in the style of Garbage Pail Kids.
That's pretty
Yo,
cool.
Garbage Pail Kids. You remember the movie? You remember the movie and shit?
I don't remember the
I
movie.
don't like the movie as much as the cards.
Yeah, the movie was dumb as a shit. I remember that shit.
I'm trying to figure out. I made some different ways, different layouts. I'm trying to remember.
These were fun to make. These were all fun to make. But this is all using AI generated.
Tezos investor, go back. Let's see if it looks like Kevin. You should have made it look more like Kevin.
Well, I should have. I think I have some others. Maybe they look closer to Kevin.
Art Tech is down. They took down the site.
Yeah, they pivoted. Now they're doing like an AI token creator on Twitter.
Yeah, but you know what? These aren't like grotesque enough and weird enough to be Garbage Pail Kids. They gotta like have their brains hanging out and stuff. Joe Biden.
Wait, I remember some
Nakamoto.
I remember some like Garbage Pail Kids knockoff things like in the early 2021, 2022. Was that you, Rankin?
No.
Oh yeah, that was one of the things. I think it was William Quigley of Wax that they were really pushing, and Wax doesn't get enough credit. Ones. Yeah, Wax doesn't get enough credit for really pushing the like the NFT economy before the OpenSea breakouts. And I remember at the time there were a bunch of and the way they approached it is getting the licenses for proper IP, like with Tops and Upper Deck or whatever, and Garbage Pail Kids. And I remember at the time my friend was really into EOS and trying to get me to buy all those things. And I was like, I don't know about this. We're still in the bear market. And then but yeah, it did go up precipitously. I mean, it was like he did make a lot off of it, and I probably should have done it. But yeah, that was the way they approached it. It was such a new thing at the time. Like the idea, it was because it was introducing like, here's like how you can think of NFTs. Here's why these things would have value, and it was also people at the time. Most people were talking about NFTs in the context of STOs, but STOs were taking their sweet out. They're still taking their time because it's like, well, wait a minute, you need to have an off-chain jurisdiction say this is okay for the thing that's off-chain to be okay. Whereas a wholly digital asset, let alone, or even something that was licensed properly by an organization, it's like it has that stamp of approval. You don't need a physical thing to prove that.
But there's also legal issues involved in that. Even though a Garbage Pail Kid can be traded by anyone at a card shop or in between people, they're not really worried about receiving their royalties from those trades. With a digital asset, they assume that the tradability is a feature and a part of it. And so they also want to get paid for each time it changes hands when money's involved. And so then there's this extra layer of like, okay, I can license my IP, but what happens when Alon sells it to Kevin? Shouldn't I get my 5% or 20% or whatever the cut is? And then you have to try and be able to enforce that. It's not really enforceable.
That's what made it huge. That's what made it huge on OpenSea. And then all of a sudden, people created other platforms that started bypassing it, and it really kind of killed the NFT market.
They bled their users dry. OpenSea. They have never given a shit about their users. They are.
Well, there's supposed to be an OpenSea airdrop sometime soon.
Very draconian organization, and I think people eventually I've been saying that for a long time, but now everyone's realized it. Now they're basically dead.
We'll see. We'll see how the airdrop brings them back.
All right.
Well, people
did they actually announce an airdrop, or is it all still the speculation of the community?
Their sites are kind of hinting towards it. Yeah,
it's a Hail Mary.
There's like XP and all this stuff. Like, no, there was some site. There was, I think, some
even more than the royalty though, Alon. Like it's for them, especially when this was all novel and everything. What they were getting outside of like what the cards that go through comic book stores and on eBay and whatever, it's they get data, transaction data, real-time transaction data, ultra precise to the users, and they can see the flows of how these assets transact. Whereas once you pass primary sale, it's not like they can't get data. It's just it's not as reliable and it's more anecdotal, and they're making a lot of broad estimates, and it's really, really expensive to get data on like your baseball cards or whatever once they're in the stores or being traded in the public. It's a very difficult thing to do, but that data is so valuable. By the way, I highly recommend. There's this movie on
let me chime in again.
The beanie.
I bought a
Bubble.
I bought a Pokemon. I bought a Pokemon NFT. That's a digital item. It's a digital item. They keep the Pokemon card in a vault, kind of like the gold and wherever that gold shit is. But it's insured. It's protected from like flood and all that shit, whatever. But it's like a real NFT. And I got a 10. You know, those like cards have those 10 things. I have a 10 rated NFT Pokemon joint that I bought, and it's that NFT. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I forget